Jeffrey Hurlings, and having said so, Hurlings, who likes to be a one-time winner in the Grand Prix of Sweden, must score a first place.
Hello and welcome back to Uddevalla for the Swedish Grand Prix, round 10 of the FIM MX2 World Motocross Championship. Weather conditions still about the same as they were, a nice light breeze, beautiful blue skies, and a very fast drying racetrack, completely different to what we had in Saturday's qualification. Well, it's round 10 then for the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. Jeffrey Hurlings continues to lead, but it was a very difficult first race for him in Moto number 1. And he'll be looking at trying to rectify that after falling at turn 1. He fought his way right the way through to take third on the final half lap, snatching it from his teammate Jordi Tixier. But it was a first ever race win for Christophe Charlier on the Monster Energy Yamaha in MX2, followed by the Wilbo Nastar JM Racing KTM of Jake Nichols. We already mentioned Hurlings and Tixier. Dean Ferris on the Monster Energy Yamaha was 5th. We're ahead of Alessandro Lupino on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. He had a tough ride as well because he was down in 14th at one stage and was having his fair share of problems, but he would eventually come back to get 6th and was a man on a mission. Tonkov was 7th, Koldenhoff 8th, Boutron was 9th, and Mel Pocock came home in 10th. Well, a little while ago, our MX2 riders were out on track having their sighting lap. And they will have more of an idea as to the different conditions that now face them after an MX1 race 1 about an hour or so ago. But it's very, very calm out there at the moment on the side of the racetrack.
And that has to come now.
The music's cranked up. That's how they line up for the MX2 race 2. That's how they qualified. We just saw an image there of Alessandro Lupino just climbing over the front of the handlebars there as the bass speakers kick in here. The crowd, I'm just looking out of my commentary position actually, the crowd up there on the rocks, bathed in glorious sunshine. They're all up on their feet, getting ready for MX2 race 2. And there's a real sense of atmosphere now starting to build. A little bit damp yesterday on all fronts, but Dave Nicol, our FIM race director, walks across to the edge of the start line, gives the signal for the Monster Energy 15-second board to be hoisted up. Here's Hurlings nearest the camera, Lupino alongside him, and Charlier, just as it was for Moto number 1 in MX2. 5-second board is up. We're getting ready to go racing here. MX2, race 2, about to get underway. The gate drops and it's a good reaction from Hurlings, but an even better one from the middle there, and it's Jose Boutron who swings around and right into the face of Mel Pocock, the 119 Monster Energy Yamaha rider who had to take evasive action there, duck down as the freshly watered first turn. Few puddles out on track. But Hurlings there in second, Tixier in 4th place, or is that Tixier there in second actually? So Jose Boutron, then Jordi Tixier. We're on board with Lupino, not a good start for him. He was alongside Hurlings as he went through that first turn. Right, top of the hill. Who have we got? Hurlings trying to slide around the outside of Ferris, but Ferris there in 3rd place. Then it's Hurlings, and then it's probably Jake Nichols, and then it's the 23, our winner from race 1, and he's side by side with Jake Nichols. Nichols pushes the French rider wide. As we drop down onto the mid-level of the circuit here. Boutron it is on the Silver Action KTM that leads the way in the early stages. Tixier second, Hurlings still trying to find a way past Ferris for that 3rd place. Ferris there at the moment. Tonkov, a good start for him, so too Geiser. And then Maxime Dupre just ahead of Lupino. So, 3rd place battle, bottom of the hill. Hurlings going around the outside of the Monster Energy Yamaha, who then cuts back up the inside. very rutty through there. The faces of the jumps have all been fixed. It's Pocock actually in third place, not Ferris. How wet and slick it is there. Hurling's had a nice, neat line up high on the left-hand side through that turn in the first moto, but see, they've had to put a lot of water down because we've got MX1 race 2 immediately after this second MX2 race. So over the line we go for the first time then. And we've got Boutron leading the way, just ahead of Geordie Tixier and then Jeffrey Hurling. So the two Red Bull KTMs pretty much line astern in second or third. Then we've got Pocock fourth, Charlier in fifth there. Then just behind him, Jake Nichols, then Alexander Tonkov. Then Tim Geiser. Then the Kawasaki of Alessandro Lupino, the Yamaha of Dean Ferris just here. And Stefan Olsen with a good start. Charlier and Pocock trading places here. Charlier, jumps across the front end of Pocock and takes that fourth place, but it was touch and go as to whether both riders would stay up. Charlier's got one thing on his mind here. He wants to win the overall Grand Prix, and to do that, he needs the 84 of Hurling's firmly in his sight throughout the whole of the moto. Slightly more traction just there coming out of that right-hander into this left. They've completely flattened all the ruts out. So just a few more lines able to develop. And as this race goes on, certainly opens it up for a little bit of square-off action. Boutron was a little bit tense in the first moto. And we know he's a good starter. He's come out with a peach of a start in the second moto, but he's got the two KTMs of 911 and 84. Tixier and Hurling's. Hurling's a neat line up the inside, just like he did in moto number one. Instead of going around the outside of his teammate, though, he goes up the inside and takes it back at the end of this first official full lap. Jumps to the inside line, though, has no choice. Just checking out to see where the traction is, and look how much time he saves there. Looks over his shoulder. He knew that Tixier had gone wide, and then he tries to sneak up the inside. Hurling's is not going to make the distance on the jump. So one official lap complete then. Hurling's the fastest man on track, 1:48.3. Takes a look over to see where his teammate is, just wants to know what's going to do when he gets to the bottom of the hill. But nothing in it between the first three. 17, Boutron leading the way at the moment. Charlier now in fourth, Pocock in fifth. They're at the bottom of the hill there. Then Jake Nichols, the Will Van der Staan GM Racing KTM is sixth. The Esther Motorsports Honda of Alex Tonkov is seventh. Then the Marchetti Racing KTM of Tim Geiser, 243, is in eighth place. Oh, Charlier all over the back of Tixier at the end of that wave section. Just like he was in the previous lap, but this time it's not Pocock that's ahead of him, it's the Red Bull KTM of Tixier. Tixier now going after Boutron for the lead. Boutron might know he's there, Jeffrey Hurling's. Oh, look at the difference in lights there. Boutron just locking up, Hurling's on the gas. Really railing that flat corner just a moment ago. Charlier just coming in front and first. Boutron will know from the first race, Hurling's likes to go outside, but he squares off, but then he's forced to go the long way round, up on the pegs, hooking under the gear. Well ridden there from Boutron. Kept Hurling's all the way out to the outside at a disadvantage, who now squares to the inside here. Nice little rut there that he drops into on the downside of that mogul on the corner. Second time around then, the first two over the line. Boutron, Hurling's, then Tixier as Didika looks on from upstairs on pit lane. Charlier still fourth, Pocock, Nichols still having great rides in fifth and sixth. Hurling's looks to square off the Spaniard at the bottom of the hill to battle for the lead. Geiser still in eighth place, Lupino 9th, Ferris 10th, Fabre 11th, Olsen 12th, Dupre 13th, Ferrandis 14th, Holdenhoff, Clement, Petrov, Banks Brown 18th, Kulas 19th, Ratsep, he's in 20th position. As we continue to watch this battle between 17, Boutron and Hurling's, he easily ran the outside in the end. So 2 laps gone, and Hurling's already in the lead. Max Anstey down in 22nd position, not been his weekend at all. Question now is, Jose Boutron, How long can he hang out there in second place on the Silver Action KTM? That's out of the right-hander through the waves. This is Hurlings just getting the distance. Did he jump slightly longer? I think Boutron just maybe backed off, and then he realized when he saw Hurlings there, no sense in challenging. Quicker man was always going to come through at some point. So Boutron then, 17. He's in second, but look at the freight train of riders behind him. The yellow and blue there of 911, Jordi Tixier in third. The blue Monster Energy Yamaha on the left of your screen coming into land of Christophe Charlier. He's in fourth. Mel Pocock still in fifth. Nichols sixth. Tonkov seventh. Geiser eighth. Oh, Nichols up the inside of Pocock, just in the background, and he goes through. So Nichols then will come over the line in fifth place, as Charlier goes after Jordi Tixier. Obviously the situation as it is at the moment, Hurlings in first place and Charlier down in fourth. That would give the overall Grand Prix to Jeffrey Hurlings. So Hurlings going to be really relying on his teammate Tixier to keep the Frenchman at bay. Of course, Hurlings wants to win every Grand Prix this year. Boutron looking good in second, but Tixier can't go too wide because Charlier is right there, ready to pounce if he goes just a little bit offline. And we saw how he dealt with Mel Pocock a couple of laps ago. So 3 gone then. Hurlings, Boutron, Tixier, Charlier. They're your first 4 guys. This is a battle for second here. Hurlings disappearing at the bottom of the hill there as our race leader. Then we've got Nichols, Pocock, Tonkov, Lupino, Geiser and Ferris still in 10th place. The half Swedish, half Australian Monster Energy Yamaha rider. That's him there just down the bottom of the hill. But Hurlings was the fastest man on track last time out. 1:48.1, fastest man, or fastest lap of the race, I should say. Sets a personal best first sector split. Charlier, he knows what's at stake here. I think Pocock has found a way back past Nichols. He has, because he's now coming under the watchful eye of Alex Tonkov. So Nichols drops back to 6th. Pocock, the fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.9. So a couple tenths quicker than Hurlings posted earlier on the previous lap. Charlier, though, look at him, 23, all over the back of the Red Bull KTM. Tixier takes a long look over his shoulder. And he realizes that Charlier is there, challenging. And he's looking to find a way through. He's desperate, is Charlier, to find a way into that 3rd place. Well, I've got an ex-rider joining me now. Of course, is the team manager for Ice One Racing KTM, the team manager for the MX1 team, Antti Pirinen. Good to see you here. Of course, we're in Sweden this weekend. It's been a pretty tense Grand Prix so far, hasn't it? You know, we had a lot of rain yesterday, completely different conditions today.
Yeah, sure it is. You know, yesterday the track was only one line, and the start was extremely important, but today the track is more fast and a little bit more lines, but still it's the same story. You know, you need to be there up there in the start, you know, if you want to make a top 5.
Well, you would have raced here before. Very difficult conditions for the riders today, isn't it? Hard, slick, loose, rocky, a lot of them to think about.
Yeah, for sure. You know, this is a demanding track, and this is a track where you need to focus all the time, because you can easily make a small mistake like our team rider Xavier did in the first moto. But okay, the key word is the start, you know, and many times when you are in front of on the start, you know, then you also can avoid the mistakes.
Tim Geiser made a mistake, or maybe that's mechanical, we don't know. But Geiser going out of 10th or 9th position. 8th, I think he was, because he's now dropping down the leaderboard. But Ice One Racing KTM, obviously they made an announcement today in a press release, not you guys specifically, but next year you are going to be heading up the factory Husqvarna team. That's a big move for you guys.
Yeah, for sure it is. You know, it's a step forward and a big one, and we are really looking forward to become a factory team, and the cooperation with KTM has been great, and they helped us to reach this level where we are now, and definitely we are looking forward to reach again next step, you know, and to become a Husqvarna factory team. It's a big challenge, and I believe it will bring us a lot of success.
Just get back to the racing for a second. Jeffrey Hurlings just sets the fastest lap of the race, a 1:46.8. He's now 3.8 seconds clear of Jose Butron, number 17 on the Silver Action KTM. That's him leading this group of riders, but look how close it is. Jordi Tixier on the Red Bull KTM looking to dart down the inside of the Spaniard. Has to hold on to that third place though. Just behind him, Christophe Charlier, as he has been for much of the race. He's there in fourth place. He needs to find a way through if he's to win the overall Grand Prix this weekend. Mel Pocock having a great ride as well in fifth. Then we've got Jake Nichols, Alex Tonkov, Lupino, Ferris and Fevre as your top 10, as Tixier looking for a way through. Needs to square off this corner here. Oh, looked like he hit neutral there, Butron, and also the front end, but a slight mistake. Tixier, surely it's only a matter of time before he goes through. Butron knows he's there. Antti Pirinen from Mice One Racing, KTM. Look at that, great move from Tixier, but he forces Butron wide, and unfortunately for him, Charlier wasn't able to capitalise. This is the first of 3 Grand Prix now, isn't it? We're here in Uddevalla. There we go, Charlier going through. Surely at the end of the straight, trying to run across the front of the KTM rider. He does so, making sure that the Spaniard cannot fight back. So as it stands at the moment, he's in third position, but he needs to find second now to win the Grand Prix, does Christophe Charlier, as Jake Nichols also goes through on Butron. So Butron falling like a stone from what was second place a minute ago. He's now coming under the close attention of 119, Mel Pocock. So Pocock in 6th place. That's how far back Butron has gone in just the space of about 5 corners. We've got Sweden, Latvia and Finland. It's a tough schedule for the riders, but at the end of it all, we go back to Vinka in Finland, your hometown.
Yeah, sure. It's looking forward to that, and it's gonna be a really demanding sand track, and for the guys also, you need to be really top physical shape to be successful there. But overall, everybody in Finland is waiting for that moment when the Grand Prix circus is coming there, and top riders of the world, and I also believe that it's gonna be a really special GP for our team, you know, and we wish that we can step up to top 5 there.
Well, Mel Pocock looking like he's coming under pressure. He's just been passed by Alex Tonkov, and now Lupino squaring him up, coming through the final corner, and finds a way through as he gets the distance on the jump and commands the inside line, going through the dip back onto the start-finish straight area. Of course, we can get tickets for Vinka on motocrossmx1.com. Hit the tickets tab, and there's going to be deals there for you guys. For you personally, Antti Pirinen, to have a home Grand Prix in Finland, that's a big step, isn't it? The first time in MX1 ever, but also in the World Motocross Championship in the main class since '91.
Yeah, it is a big step for Finland. There used to be GPs on the past, and Finland was always quite a liked Grand Prix for the riders and for the teams, and now coming back, you know, there is a big thing, but I believe it's a great for the teams and for the riders, and also I believe the Finnish organizer will do a marvelous job. You know, they are okay. They don't have really experience to organize a Grand Prix on this level, but they have studied a lot, and they are so motivated that I believe they're gonna do a great job immediately on the first year.
All right, well, look, I know you're busy. You've got MX1 Race 2 just around the corner. So, Antti Pirinen, thanks for joining us here from Ice One Racing KTM. Thank you. Back to the action then in MX2 Race 2. Butron now coming under intense scrutiny from the number 59, the Ester Motorsports Honda rider, the Russian Alexander Tonkov. And Tonkov in moto number 1 finished in 7th. He's in 6th place at the moment, but he's putting in a good run of form as the Russian of late. Starting back in Brazil, he was pretty good in France and also in Italy, of course. And just running a little bit too wide there, though. Opens the door, and number 300, Lupino, storming on through. So Lupino now goes up into 6th place. That's Boutron just ahead of him at the bottom of the hill. Turn 3. We've had a great battle going on here. Hurling's 7.8 seconds clear. He's not making the same mistake in this second moto. Got a good start, or a slightly better one than last time at least. And he's now almost 8 seconds clear of Jordi Tixier. Christophe Charlier, though, he's in 3rd position. Jake Nichols is in 4th. Boutron, that's who we were looking at. There's Tim Geiser. He's out. You saw him down the bottom end of the circuit, pushing his bike back. He's not happy. He's the former FIM Junior World Champion and European Champion from last year as well. So he's going to have to go back to the drawing board before. Oh, Tonkov just there in the background, very deep in the right-hander, almost losing the front end and going down, and that cost him a couple of bike lengths. But Lupino, who was one of the fastest guys on track in moto number 1, gets out of the turn a little bit too early and then lost control. He's going after Boutron. This is 4th, 5th. Can't go through there, though. Has to be patient. There's probably 1 or 2 places between now and the finish line that Lupino could find a way through on the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit Kawasaki. This next left-hander is one of them, depending, of course, which line Boutron decides to take. And that is the line that he's choosing, the same one as Hurling's from moto number 1. And then if he can square off and get out the corner early, get the distance on the finish line jump, he might find a way through here, because Boutron not able to get the drive. We've had 9 laps complete. Hurlings continues to set the pace. Another fastest lap of the race, 1:46.1. He's now 8.1 seconds clear of Jordi Tixier. Charlier just losing ground now, about 3 seconds further back. He's in 3rd place. Nichols is safe in 4th, it would seem, at the moment. 3 seconds down on Charlier and about 4 seconds clear of Boutron. And that's this battle here that we're looking at right now. So just going to check the overall standings as they stand. Hurlings would win the overall Grand Prix. Charlier would tie on points, unless, of course, he finds a way past Tixier. Tixier on 40, Jake Nichols on 40. So if Charlier finds a way through on Jordi Tixier, that puts Jake Nichols on the podium and Tixier down in 4th place. So there's a lot riding on the overall classification here in the remaining, what, just under 16 minutes plus 2 laps. Boutron goes wide. Lupino comes through up the inside and wastes no time finding a way up the inside of the Spaniard. He now moves into 5th place. The gap between him and Jake Nichols about 4 seconds. Nichols last time around was a 1:48.337. Lupino 1:47.8, so about a half a second quicker, and that was trying to find a way past Boutron. Jeffrey Hurlings takes a nice look over his shoulder. He's got about 8 seconds in hand as he comes out of the final turn, hits the Monster Energy finish line jump and completes his 10th lap in this second MX2 race here. It's round 10 of the FIM Motocross World Championship at Uddevalla in Sweden. And this kid is on fire. In 2013 he's won every Grand Prix so far this year, but he's lost 2 motos along the way. One in Brazil, race 2, and the second one in moto number 1 here as he fought from the first turn 4 to get back to 3rd. It's still giving him a good chance of winning the overall Grand Prix, though. Can't do any more than he's doing. As we look behind Tonkov, number 111, Dean Ferris, was down in 10th for the first few laps, but he's found a way past Fevre. He's found a way past Mel Pocock, his teammate, and he's now going after the Russian. So Tonkov, 1:49, as Ferris sets his fastest lap of the race, a 1:47.8, so that's why we see the gap coming back down. Having to work extremely hard is Dean Ferris. Elliot Banks-Brown is out on the HM Plant KTM. Problem with the front end down there. I'm not sure if he's lost a few spokes or not. Maybe tagging a footrest from another rider, but it's been one of those weekends for Elliot Banks-Brown. He was 15th in moto number 1, but no points for him, I'm afraid, in the second race. Boutron just dropping out of sight. He's put some distance actually between himself and Tonkov that time around. Tonkov maybe just dealing with the pressure of Dean Ferris just behind him, who comes into land. See, they've taken out 5 of those ruts there in that left-hander. Fevre, he's in 10th place. Dupre is 11th. Ferrandis 12th. Koldenhoff on the standing construct. KTM is 13th. The Kimia Ratek van der Laar Yamaha of Petrov is 14th, ahead of Harry Kulas, Stefan Olsen, Jason Clement, Max Anstey now in 18th, Prit Ratsep 19th, and Kevin Fors is in 20th position. Boutron out of the final corner, over the finish line. Tixier, sorry, not Tixier, but Tonkov going through, but Ferris just struggling to get traction coming out of that final turn, as did Dylan Ferrandis then just a moment ago. He's in 12th place, trying to find a way past Maxime Dupre. Tonkov low, looks like he's weathered the storm for a moment, using all of the track and just a little bit more as he launches up onto that plateau. One of the most physically demanding circuits here because of the nature of the ground. It gets very hard and choppy. There's a lot of rocks underneath. Hard accelerating bumps as well coming out of the corners. But Roman Fevre, he's on the charge. 461 all over the back of Mel Pocock. So the Wilvona JM Racing KTM rider, who is Hume at the moment, is going to be a factory Husqvarna rider for next year under the watchful eye of Jackie Martins. Doing his best to impress here in Moto number 2. Gets out of the turn early. Opens up the corner just here on the entry to the wave section. But Mel Pocock knows he's got his hands full. But we've got just under 12 minutes to go, plus 2 laps. Hurling's almost 10 seconds clear of Tixier. Charlier is 3rd, Nichols 4th, with Lupino, Boutron, Tonkov, Ferris, Pocock and Fevre battling for 10th. Just under 11.5 minutes to go. Mel Pocock on the Montrenity Yamaha, 119, the lead rider in shot. Jumps to the inside, but then just decides to change his mind at the last minute. He goes wide, but Fevre is going to find his way up the inside here, and nicely done for the Frenchman. So the former European champion easily disposes of Mel Pocock and slots himself up into 9th place as he completes his 12th lap here in Uddevalla. Mel Pocock was pushing for the top 5 positions early on in the moto, but just seems to have faded a little bit here. I'm not sure if he's just struggling with the conditions of the racetrack in the second half of the race here, or maybe he just blew a gasket a little bit early on. But another rider that's doing well here, number 17, Jose Boutron. He's in 6th place, and he's been dealing with the pressure of Tonkov and Ferris for the last few laps. How hard and slick that corner is there in the background, and the dust just starting to kick up. Dean Ferris closing back in on the Ester Motorsports Honda, the number 59 of Alexander Tonkov. Tonkov in turn trying to do his best to bridge that gap between him and Boutron. Just under 10 minutes to go in the second FIM MX2 race here. It's round 10 of the World Motocross Championship at Uddevalla in Sweden. Jeffy Hurlings continues to lead. He's already over the line to complete his 13th lap. But his Red Bull KTM teammate Jordi Tixier now 11 seconds behind him, with Charlier another 4 seconds further back. That'll put him on the podium in 2nd place. And Tixier in 3rd. And of course, we were expecting Charlier to come out all guns blazing and wanting to win the overall Grand Prix here this weekend. Well, that's only going to happen if he finds a way past Tixier, and that looks like it might only happen if Tixier makes a mistake of some sort in the closing stages of the race. Jake Nichols continues to impress. He's in 4th position at the moment, but just off the podium as it stands right now. He's 5 seconds down on Charlier, but Alessandro Lupino is closing right in, as you can see. Here's Nichols here, 45 on the Wilvona JM Racing KTM, and the green Kawasaki, the CLS Monster Energy Pro Circuit machine of Alessandro Lupino. Might just be coming down to slightly different line choice between these two guys. fitness levels, they're both incredibly fit athletes. Lupino certainly looking a little bit more comfortable in his tyres. Goes around the outside of Nichols, but too wide in the end. Will he force it down the inside at the bottom of the hill? Well, Nichols knows he's there, and he won't allow the Italian to go through. Nichols gets the distance over the tabletop, runs on, hits the dirt. And then he goes to the inside. Lupino might get out of there early and square off, but then he has to traverse a deep berm on the way back through, so just cost him a little bit of time. Lupino looking good here. Definitely got more confidence in the tyres, has Lupino. We're 14 laps complete. And again, Jeffrey Hurlings continues to set the fastest lap of the race on lap 14. I say that as if I'm absolutely surprised, but I'm not, to be honest. We've seen him do it time and time again throughout 2012 and 2013. Lupino just getting caught behind a back marker there, but that allows Nichols to escape just a little bit, but he's right back on the rear wheel of the Brit. Again, takes a slightly different line. Not getting buried too deep into the berms either. So Lupino really on a charge here. He would love to get into fourth position with the Italian. He was a career best second in the second moto in Italy that got him on the podium a couple of weeks ago, but here he is just going after another position to score as many points as possible. Nichols doesn't get the distance on the jump. Lupino does. He's around the outside, and he finds a way through at the end of the straight, so he now goes into fourth place. Jake Nichols has no reply. He drops down into fifth place. We're down the pit lane.
JJ, Ali's pushing hard again this weekend. I guess after Major, he knows those are the results he needs to bring back to the team.
Yes, of course, Erling is strong, but Alexandro is made since 3GP made so nice races, and we like when he rides like this. So he's our good rider, so we are so happy.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Alessandro Lupino then in fourth position. He is, what, 7 seconds down or thereabouts on Christophe Charlier. Lap times between those two about the same, so going to be a big ask for Lupino to close in on the Frenchman, as Jeffrey Hurlings looking in control at the head of the field on the Red Bull KTM. We heard him in the post-race interview after Moto number 1, where he finished third, say that he hopes Charlier doesn't get second, because of course that would cost him the overall Grand Prix, but at the moment Charlier there in third place behind Tixier. So Tixier doing a good job riding shotgun for his teammate, and you see Hurlings just taking a look back there to see if that is still the case. Well, there's a gap of 5 seconds now between Tixier and Charlier. So as we said a moment ago, barring any mistakes, Charlier safe, or Tixier safe in that second position. Charlier will have to settle for third place. That'll get him second overall in the Grand Prix. One of the back markers there, 2:18, that's the Australian John Phillips of New Zealand, doing his best to try and stay out of the way here, because Ferris, the 1:11 Australian, and Romain Febvre, they're going at it here. Battle of 8th place at the moment, so Romain Febvre has done well to bridge that gap to the Monster Energy Yamaha rider there, just coming towards us now. Romain Febvre seemingly growing in confidence again after his broken leg, after the flyaway races just before the Dutch Grand Prix in the Netherlands at Valkenswaard round 3. Of course, he was laying second in the championship at that point as well, so he made his return a couple races back, but this is the best we've seen him ride since his comeback, Romain Febvre. Just takes a quick look, spots the landing, sees what Ferris is doing just ahead of him. Both riders going for the same. A little bit of dirt in the penultimate corner. But over the line they go. 16 laps complete. Jose Boutron sets his fastest lap of his race with a 1:47.996, but Dean Ferris just a little bit sideways as he launches down into turn 2. He knows he's got a fight on his hands here. Roman Febvre's not going to let up on the Will van der Staan JM Racing KTM. Takes a big leap across the top under the Monster Energy banner on the tabletop. Furthest point away from the start line area, right behind the back there. That used to be a really deep sandy corner. Used to get so rough going in and coming out of there though, but it's back down to its bare bones and the hard slick rock underneath. See how dry it is now. It's difficult to imagine that 24 hours ago this track was replicating something of a swamp pit. Underwater, one line which the riders were just sticking to was the cleanest route through. That's why the qualifying races were so static yesterday. Tixier now 16 seconds behind his teammate Jeffrey Hurlings. Charlier third, Lupino fourth. Nichols still in 5th position. Got a nice gap though between him and Boutron, but then we said that about Lupino, so hopefully for Jake Nichols' sake, he'll be able to hold on to that. But again, Boutron, sorry, who was his own personal best lap last time around with a 1:47.9 compared to the 49.2 of Jake Nichols. You rather suspect that Nichols might be in trouble come the end of the moto here. They're the guys behind him. Boutron, look. Nichols just coming into land over the finish line jump there. So that gap really coming down now. Just over 3 seconds, 3.2 seconds. And Boutron half a second quicker than Jake Nichols just ahead of him. And Nichols can't afford to switch off or relax here. We know Boutron, as long as he's got someone behind him, he's not going to back down either. And Tonkov in 7th place on the number 59, Esther Motorsports Honda. Second rider in shot. He can't relax either because he's got Dean Ferris and Roman Febvre breathing down his neck. So the only guys here that have just lost the toe in the second half of the race, Mel Pocock, who's now 6 seconds adrift of Roman Febvre. Lupino, 7 seconds down on Charlier. As we said, a big ask. We've got about 4 laps to go here. Looking good though, the second half of the season, Lupino. He's had a good couple of results that have boosted his confidence, that's for sure. Got no pressure now. There's Charlier. He's in 3rd place. That's the guy ahead of Lupino, and he can't afford to relax either. Drops down into the final corner. Christophe Charlier, Monster Energy Yamaha. And he clicks off another lap. That's 18 for the Yamaha rider. He was 4th in the championship at the start of the race. Been on the podium only once this year, 3rd overall in the French Grand Prix. So we'd love to get here again and have a 2nd place finish this weekend here in Sweden. But he's doing a pretty good job of it at the moment as he sits in 3rd in moto number 2. So time is just about up. As we wait for Hurlings to come around to take the 2-lap board. Just one of the many horrible holes the riders have to deal with. Charlier wouldn't have even blinked at that, but he went a little bit deeper than he wanted to there in the right-hander that followed. Took a nervous look over his shoulder just to see exactly where Lupino is. And Lupino still 7 seconds behind or thereabouts. So looking good for the first 4 riders at the moment. Hurlings, Tixier, Charlier, Lupino. Jake Nichols, though, he's only 3 seconds clear of Jose Boutron, or he was when they came over the finish line. Boutron still there with Tonkov and Ferris for close company. Roman Febvre's just dropped off the pace a little bit in the background. So Ferris now has free rein to go after Tonkov to try and pick off another position as Hurlings goes through to complete his 19th lap. The 2-lap board goes out. These guys down here some 25 seconds behind our race leader. After, what, 35 minutes of racing so far. There's Tixier, virtual third overall in the Grand Prix. Of course, Charlier will be second. So not a bad recovery for Jordi Tixier, fourth in Moto number 1. It was almost a third place finish. Of course, his teammate stole that from him with about, well, less than a third of a lap to go. Wasn't able to stay with Herlings when he came through on the opening lap, but oh, the back end just getting a wicked kick there at the wave section right at the top of the hill. Could have all ended in tears and changed the shape of the race even further, but Tixier managing just to react to that in midair. Again, one of those moments where the rider might not have realized too much that there was anything untoward. It always looks worse on camera. I'm sure there would have been a slight moment where he thought, the back end just coming around a little bit further than he wanted to. Take a look over to his left to see Charlier coming in the opposite direction, about 6 seconds behind. So he knows he's comfortable at the moment. There is Charlier in the left-hander now, number 23. Had a good Grand Prix here in Sweden. Really starting to believe in himself now, the Frenchman. And Managerial Yamaha also seem to have those bikes hooking up pretty good as well. The lone MX2 rider in the Rinaldi garage. Of course, he's got Roulants and Stephen Frossard as MX1 teammates. Steve Dixon, of course, running the MX2 Managerial Yamaha squad, which sees Dean Ferris and Maxime Dupre and Mel Pocock on the team. And both camps running slightly different engines as well, but Jeffrey Herlings will have to pick himself up off the deck in turn 1. He knew that he had a fight on his hands in that first moto to keep his overall win streak alive in 2013, to go undefeated. He made no mistake at the start of the second race. He came out nice and clean. Takes a long look over his shoulder just to see what's going on. He wants to know if he's won the Grand Prix at this stage of the race even. Wanted to pick out his teammate, wanted to pick out the gap between him and Charlier. Still won't celebrate though, because he knows how tricky and demanding this circuit can be, and a mistake there for him coming out of that left-hander himself. So he knows that anything can happen. Does Jeffrey Herlings? Just a few more corners. The lowest point on the circuit here in Uddevalla. This is where he came unstuck in the second moto on lap 1 last year. It naturally gets rutty through there anyway, as you can see, but there were a load of waves through there last year, and he just got cross-rutted in the mud and went down, but no problems in moto number 2. Slightly different conditions, but it's going to be a cruise to the finish line for Jeffrey Herlings and Red Bull KTM in moto number 2. He still wants to know what's going on. He knows now, look, he's celebrating because he knows Tixier, his teammate, is there in second, but Herlings wins the second race, and he wins the Swedish Grand Prix. So we wait for Jordi Tixier to come through. And there he is, he cruises over the line in second. So Tixier, who was second on 3 occasions back-to-back, rounds 3, 4 and 5, he has to settle for third overall here this weekend, despite getting that second place finish in the second moto. But Christophe Charlier takes his best result of the season, second overall here in Sweden.
Jeffrey, congratulations. You win here in Sweden, and it almost didn't happen.
I know, I had some problem first moto, but second moto I did what I had to do, and took a so-so start and got into the lead, and just hoping Jordi would stay in front, and luckily he's a good teammate and he stayed in front. I'm super pumped for him and happy to have done that. Hey.
Well done, Jordi.
Nice bit of camaraderie there between the Red Bull team KTM riders. Finished second, he's pretty pleased with that, you know that, but Jeffrey Herlings, so he wins the race in the overall Grand Prix. Tixier gets second in the race, but has to settle for third overall on the points gap, but Charlier, he's third, he's second overall, but a great race here in MX2, race 2. So Jeffrey Herlings then keeps his undefeated Grand Prix record alive this year in 2013. But it was touch and go, as we said, with that first race fall at turn 1. A great crowd here this weekend, great atmosphere. Everybody's happy down there, so too Stefan Everts. He can finally raise a smile. And he was waiting for him at the finish there, he said, Jeffrey Hurlings, to wait for his teammate, but didn't want to wait too long, though, just in case his teammate took the race win. No doubt. But we'll have the official confirmation of race 2 results in just a moment. So no doubt about it then, in the end, Jeffrey Hurlings, after a so-so start, managed to find his way to the lead early on and win here, moto number 2. Tixier was second from Charlier, Lupino. Jake Nichols, 5th in the end from Ferris, Boutron, Tonkov and Fevre, with Dylan Ferrandis working his way up into 10th ahead of Mel Pocock, who then dropped to 11th in the closing stages. Glenn Koldenoff was 12th, Maxime Dupre 13th, Peter Petrov was 14th, then it was Harry Kulas, Max Anstey, Jason Clement, Stefan Olsen, Prit Ratsep and Kevin Fors.
For the camping area and for the parking area, and we have tried to solve this as good as we can, but that's a problem. I tell you, I didn't hear any complaint. No, but I have. That's something to keep in mind. But still, congratulations on this Grand Prix up till now. Magnus Tillin, thank you.
So Jeffrey Hurlings then wins the overall Grand Prix with a 3rd and a 1st place finish here in Sweden, with Charlier 2nd overall and Tixier 3rd. Nichols 4th, just missing out by 2 points from Lupino, Ferris and Tonkov. Jeffrey Hurlings wins the overall Grand Prix. Christophe Charlier 2nd, Jordi Tixier 3rd, Nichols 4th and Lupino. They were your top 5 overall here in Sweden this weekend. Dean Ferris just missing out in 6th overall, with Tonkov, Boutron, Koldenoff and Pocock 10th here in Sweden. Max Anstey will be disappointed with 14th overall, so too will Dylan Ferrandis, who was 15th this weekend. So in terms of the championship then, and after winning every Grand Prix in all but 2 motos, Jeffrey Hurlings continues to lead the way, and he's extended his lead as well in the process. But only one change. Lupino comes up into 8th now. Anstey drops to 9th, Pocock climbs 1 to 10th, Ferrandis drops 1 to 11th. So Pocock just nicking the odd point there from the Frenchman, who was on the podium at his home Grand Prix in Ernée a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah, we present the winner to you of the 3rd prize, Elsa, and a big cheer to Jordi Tixier from France.
Overall podium then, Jordi Tixier, Red Bull KTM Factory Racing, takes 3rd overall this weekend, with a superb 2nd in the 2nd moto and a 4th in moto number 1. But Christophe Charlier, despite winning race 1, he had to settle for 3rd position in moto number 2, but that gets him 2nd overall. And once again, Jeffrey Hurlings will stand on the top step of the podium, and he wins for the first time here at Uddevalla as well. Stefan Everts, no stranger. He stood on the top step of this podium 6 times himself as a rider. As the 10-time world champion. Kristen Masselbach, the Uddevalla municipality, hands the 3rd place trophy to Jordi Tixier. He breathes a big sigh of relief as well, doesn't he? Frederick Sidnas from Mercedes-Benz. There's some nice cars parked out there in the paddock as well, just outside the media area. Good to have them on board this weekend, of course. But Jeffrey Hurlings, once again, wins. Roger Johansson, the CEO of Uddevalla, didn't quite get the last thing there, but very important person up there on the podium, handing Jeffrey Hurlings another winner's trophy. Stefan Everts receives the manufacturer's trophy from Bjorn Andersen. But Patrick Reitens from the FIM hands Jeffrey Hurlings another red plate as he continues to lead the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship after 10 rounds.
And now for the winner,
National anthem time though for Jeffrey Hurlings and the Netherlands.
So, there we go, ladies and gentlemen.
Jeffrey Hurlings wins the overall Grand Prix then in Sweden. Uddevalla, round 10 of the FIM MX2 Motocross World Championship. Christophe Charlier takes second overall this weekend, but for Jordi Tixier, who was third, it's the first visit to the podium since he was third overall in Brazil at round 7. So he's more than happy with his performance this weekend. Maybe he can be back on podium next week in Latvia, of course. It's a tough schedule because we're in Latvia and Finland the next couple of races. Here's what happened in race 2. Jeffrey Hurlings got a good start going down into turn 1, but he was outdone by Jose Boutron and his teammate Jordi Tixier, who almost came together at the top of the hill. So too did Mel Pocock and Christophe Charlier, who stole through in the 4th position at that point. Hurlings then found a way past his teammate at the top of the hill to go into 2nd place. And then he made light work of Jose Boutron at the end of the wave section. Boutron thought he had the inside covered. Tixier just, Hurlings dropped it around the outside, and from there he never looked back, opening up a commanding lead. Tixier went through, down the inside into 2nd, and a whole bunch of riders then followed through in quick succession, including this guy here, Christophe Charlier, who went through into 3rd place. Boutron was then pushed into 4th. There was an interesting battle a little bit further back between Lupino and Jake Nichols. Lupino would eventually go through after getting the distance on one of the tabletops. Nichols would eventually finish in 5th. Dean Ferris came under pressure to finish 6th in the closing stages, but rounding out the final corner, it was a moto win and a 10th Grand Prix victory of the season for Jeffrey Hurlings and Red Bull KTM. Right, we're getting ready to go down to the winner's circle. Amy Dargan is down there getting ready to speak to our overall winner this weekend. Not for the first time, of course. Red Bull KTM Racing's Jeffrey Hurlings of the Netherlands. But as we heard earlier, it wasn't easy for him this weekend. 3rd in Moto number 1, a win in Moto number 2. Here's our overall Grand Prix winner.
Jeffrey, for the first time this year, rather, you looked a little bit nervous about defending your record.
Yeah, definitely. You know, I'm already missed out on all the moto wins, and I lost another one today. So I think 180 out of the 20. But you know, I was still in the run for all the overalls, and luckily I made them all now till where we're at now at the championship. So I'm really pumped about that, and never could do a Red Bull KTM Racing team, and of course my lovely teammate Joel. You know, he said it in between. So thanks to him, I'm on top of the podium again.
Well done. We'll see you next weekend.
I wonder how he'll repay him, his teammate. Well, if you need a good teammate to help you win the overall Grand Prix, then certainly Jordi Tixier will be that man, as we've seen this weekend. But didn't need him in the end, did he really? Won the 2nd moto quite comfortably. That's all he could do, Jeffrey Hurlings. The rest was left down to Tixier and Charlier, but it was Tixier who managed to hold on to 2nd. But he didn't get the overall decider there. That went to Christophe Charlier. The 1st and the 3rd for him. He tied the points with Hurlings this weekend on the Monster Energy Yamaha. Of course, for Charlier, 2nd podium visit of the season. 3rd in France. He's been 4th a couple of times, but his career best this weekend in 2nd.
Christophe, 2nd podium finish of the year. How do you feel knowing you came so close to taking the overall away from Jeffrey?
Yes, I'm very happy of this race. It's my 2nd podium this year, and I take a good feeling with my bike. And yeah, very, very happy this podium.
Well done.
Well, we saw the reaction from Michele Rinaldi and everybody down there at Monster Energy Yamaha when he won the 1st moto, his 1st ever career victory in MX2. And he follows that up with a fine 3rd place here and 2nd overall in the Swedish Grand Prix to record his 2nd overall podium finish of the season. He'll be looking forward to Latvia in a week's time. That is, of course, if he enjoys riding in the sand, because a completely different surface that awaits the riders next weekend. Well, Jordi Tixier had a good ride. He was 2nd in the race, 3rd overall, and as we said, his 1st podium since Brazil.
Jordi, nice to see you back up on the podium. I don't think we've seen you since Brazil up here, but you're going to give yourself a pat on the back for your performance today.
Yeah, for sure, it was a good race for me. I finished 3rd overall, back on the podium. I'm pretty happy, and I enjoy this moment because before the race we spoke with Jeffrey and he said to me, hey, Patron, you have to finish 2nd, otherwise I don't win the overall. So I give my best, and I got 3rd in the start, and I finished 2nd. I make a good pass on Boutron, and I give my best too because Charlie was not so far. And we finished 1 and 3 for the KTM Factory Red Bull team. So thanks a lot to them, all the staff, and hopefully I can do the same in Latvia. So thank you very much.
Well, 3rd overall and #1 teammate award.
Good Grand Prix for Jordi Tixier. Back to podium ways here in Sweden. Could say these conditions suited the Frenchman down to the ground. A little bit hard, slick, loose, rocky, kind of circuits that he would have grown up on, really. It wasn't an easy Grand Prix in some respects. Obviously, he had to fend off the challenge from his teammate in the first moto, where he just lost 3rd in the closing stages. And then he had to ride for his teammate in the second one, just to try and keep the hard-charging Frenchman, Christophe Charlier, at bay to prevent Herlings from winning the Grand Prix. But Red Bull KTM, of course, more than happy with their boys this weekend in MX2. So Jeffrey Herlings then wins the overall here in Uddevalla in Sweden. Charlier takes 2nd, Jordi Tixier 3rd. They'll look forward to doing it all again in Latvia in a week's time in the sand of Kegums. And well, you don't need to ask me where my money is, but he had his own problems there last year, did Jeffrey Herlings. But he'll be looking for another overall Grand Prix victory in Latvia. Manufacturers' Championship standings look like this. No change. KTM, Yamaha, Kawasaki, Suzuki, Honda and TM. With Husqvarna just picking up a point earlier on in the year with Benoit Paturel as he rode for a wild card that occasion. Well, the scene is set for MX1 Race 2. They are out on their sighting lap as we speak. And we'll be back with them in just a couple of moments' time.